Hi, welcome back to Metal Rules TV, where the underground meets the playground. I'm Jeff Rappaport.
I'm Matt Gibbons.
And you are?
Joe Chernowski.
Vinny Bell, signature Riff.
All right.
Cured Up Productions, sorry.
So we're going to talk to you first,
All right.
Joe. Why don't you introduce yourself? Or you did that part, but why don't you
I'll do that again if you want.
tell us a little bit about how you got into metal and promoting?
Well, I moved here in 2004 as a family move. And when I moved to Philadelphia, I was really looking forward to actually listening to metal again because I lived in Nashville. Nashville was a great town. I lived in Hickory, North Carolina. Good town, but not a lot of metal going on. I've always been a metal guy. And I was so looking forward to moving here. So when I moved up here, I visited the Trocadero, which is legendary in Philadelphia. Unfortunately, it's not that much legendary for me anymore, but it was legendary when I first moved here.
Not a lot of shows that you like.
No.
Yeah, why not anymore?
Why? It's just a different world. Philly has been. It's changed. When I first moved here, Philly, the Trocadero had a lot of shows. Now it's like you're lucky to get maybe 4 or 5 a year. Really good.
Have you done any yet?
Yes, I have. I've done one there. Actually, in the upstairs, not that downstairs. But anyways, I came here to check out the Troc because I always wanted to. We were deciding where we were going to move, and I saw a show there. And I told my wife the next day, instead of moving to Cleveland, we're going to move to Philly. So I ended up in Philly. Troc had some shows when I first moved here the first year or so, and then there was like no shows.
Right.
So I actually I met Riju, my partner who lives in Belgium now, at a Mortal Decay show, which was, by the way, was awesome. It was at, I can't remember the name of the club, but it was like Dobbs, but the old Dobbs upstairs, Pontiac Grill maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Is that what it was called? Yeah. So we hung. That's where I met Riju, and it was a death metal show, and I've always been into death metal. And we just started talking about music. I met Mortal Joe from Mortal Decay there that night. And ever since then, I was like, I got to do something underground in Philly because there wasn't much going on. And none of the shows I wanted to see were coming to town. I lived here. So that was like a year after I moved here from Nashville. That's essentially why I live in Philly. And that's some of my metal career as far as Philly goes.
All right, what's been some of your worst and best experiences being a promoter?
Well, the best experience of being a promoter in general for me, it's the passion for the music. I don't promote or book shows because it's a business.
Right.
I do it because I love the music, and I was in bands when I was younger, and as you get older and you get more responsible, I guess you would call it. There's not a lot of time in the day to drink like 12 packs every night and learn a few chords and rip it up, and especially when you start having kids and stuff like that. So.
Old Daddy's beer.
Yes, definitely. My son's a bartender, by the way.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah, you'll see that sometime. I
Yeah.
promise. So, as far as doing the show, the best part for me is the music. I mean, that's why I go to a show. I'm sure that's why Vinny goes to shows.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've been to shows. You go there. I mean, it's fun to hang out and talk to people and have camaraderie, but
I'm there to hear the music. Yeah.
I'm there
Well,
to see
it's
some
the
music.
music in a live setting. That's what it is, because you always got the music. So.
And when you go to a lot of shows, it's you see different venues, different size venues. I love the underground smaller show because I think it's the music, especially for metal, it just comes off a lot more brutal, a lot more in your face, a lot more fun.
Oh, yeah. Up close and personal.
Yeah, it's right there.
As opposed to sitting in the upper deck,
So Pure Death was formed in 2006. Our first show was with Neuropraxia, Putrid Pile, Digested Flesh, and Mortal Decay. We were very, what's the word I want to use, ambitious. Me and Riju, we produced a CD for the show that had like soundtracks from each band. We went out and probably pressed 1,000 flyers. And I remember we did this show. We decided to do this show, and I think it was like maybe June, and we did the show on September 30th. So we lived in every record store. We visited every show. We hung out with people. We had flyers everywhere we went to promote this show. And, it wasn't a super expensive show for us to do, but we didn't know anybody in the music business. So we went right to the art gallery. So we found an art gallery that was willing to accept a metal show. They were really panicked. I had to sign a waiver because they were worried about the place getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And
I've never even seen a show at all.
and the cool thing was, the night of our show, the week before, they had a showing of art. And the theme was prison art. So it kind of worked with the death metal
It's a good combination.
show. So I remember when we went up there to negotiate our deal with the club or the venue or the art gallery to negotiate what we had to pay for it. we asked a lot of questions, and one of the questions that came up was, would you mind if we let this artwork stay on the wall?
Yes.
And I'm like, hell yeah, that'll work.
Were they worried about being damaged or whatever?
No, not
definitely.
damage, just the theme. It was it basically had a story under each picture, and I've never been to
No, he's
prison.
talking from the house.
I've never been to prison, but you
Neither
can
have I,
imagine.
Haas.
You can imagine what those prison people think about and draw.
Right.
It was pretty brutal.
Nice.
So all these pictures are on the wall with these crazy themes of whatever, psychosis
Butt
or
rape.
there might have been a butt rape. Neuropraxia was on that show. There probably was a butt rape up there
Yeah.
somewhere. But so all these pictures are up there, and they're like, would you mind if we left the pictures up? We're like, that's fine. And I was like, well, would you mind if we have beer there? And that was there was a big pause, and she's like, I really don't know. And I was like, well, what if people bring beer? Because I'm not going to
bring your
sell.
own?
Yeah, bring your own kind of thing. And she's like, if I don't know anything about it, it's fine.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's a good answer.
I like this one.
Yeah.
I like this
boy.
place and this woman. So me and Riju show up to the venue early. We hire our first sound guy was the guy from Magruder Grind.
Nice.
I think he knows that.
Bobby.
Yeah, he came up in his van from Maryland to wherever he was from, and it was my first show, so I had no idea what sound guys do. Not much. But I mean, we didn't see him much that night.
They better do something.
And Digested Flesh, the guys from Digested Flesh were kind of bummed out because, I don't know, things weren't working out. So I had to run out to the van and yell at the sound guy. And I'm not sure it's the guy you mentioned, but I know he played in that band or what have you. And he's like, I don't know if he was on his phone or smoking a cigarette. I'm like, dude, half the sound in the room's not working.
Yeah.
I got people yelling at me. What's going on? He's like, I'll be in a second. He hung up his cell phone, walks in there, plugs something in, and the whole room comes to life again during Digested Flesh. And people went crazy. It was about 45 to 50 people there. We did it on a Saturday night, thinking that's the best night for metal.
Right.
So me and
Logical.
Riju were sitting at our little booths waiting for people to come in, and I remember when like the 16th paying person came in, it was like the first band was out. I'm like, dude, we're gonna lose a lot of cake. He's like, I was like, screw this shit, we're just gonna have some fun. So I was like, man the table when you can.
Yeah.
So we went back, and I think I had a 6-pack in my car. We slammed some
course.
brewskis, or I had maybe
Of
vodka
course.
or something else.
BYOB.
And Riju was a lot happier then because it took a lot of the load off. It was a lot of stress. And there's a picture on the internet you'll find somewhere of me and him at that first show, and you could see the stress all over us with our flyers and our little markers to tell who was coming for who, and so we knew what to pay and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you took something from it because you kept at it. So
Well, yeah, again, it's the love of the music, and I wouldn't trade that. The first show was going to be the last show. I had a keg in the back of the car during the show, and I was hooking people up with beers. We get to my house. This is how bad the show went. Okay, the sound was spotchy or splotty or whatever you want to call it. It was rough. It was rough, and but the people who went to that show had an amazing time. So that was the real positive. There was people rolling around the ground. The Tink. Do you guys know the Tink?
Yeah.
The Tink videotaped that show, and Tink, if you're watching this, I need my copy. It's only been like 7 years, but he videotaped the show with Chris Lytle. And you guys know Chris?
Yeah.
Chris,
Yep.
in St. Taddy, they're coming back
Dude,
around.
Martyrdom.
He booked them for Martyrdom.
Yep.
He videotaped the night, and the show went well. I bought way too much water. Didn't buy enough beer, but I bought way too much water. I had like 10 cases of water, thinking that people would need water because it was going to be hot in there. It's at an art gallery. A lot of
people don't
lights.
think of logic.
So had a lot of leftover water. I think we had like 4 cases. We drank water for a good month and a half at my house,
That's cool.
which was cool. But when we got back to my place, we have a keg, and I invited all these people back to our party room.
Oh boy.
So we go to the party room, and it's like 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning, and you're not supposed to be there after midnight. There's a party going on. So we're like, yeah, we'll party together. And it didn't work out too well. Nobody wanted to party together. In fact, I think there was almost 2 fights.
Wow.
The cops had to come. I'm running around the building with a keg. I had to bring it to my house, which I normally don't like to do. Sean from Putrid Pile was staying at my house and was a guest and was so looking forward to having a beer after having played in that situation. You know what I'm saying? He needed a beer. And he ended up sitting in the bathroom with the keg, and he kicked about half of it by himself.
Yeah.
Well, I remember waking up the next day at like 7 in the morning. I'm like, Sean, dude, you're still awake? He's like, I'm trying to kick this keg, brother. It's Sean.
Did any of you all work at Damage?
Dude, It was
At the
awesome.
end of the show, did anything get damaged? The artwork?
Yeah, the prisoner.
Some stuff, yeah, some stuff fell. I had to go back the next day, and I had to clean up. I had to clean up the next day. It was our show was on a Saturday. The gallery didn't open until Monday.
Yeah.
So me and Riju, we always do this. We go back, make sure everything's good. We don't want to, we don't burn any bridges.
Yeah.
You want people to be happy, For what you want to be able to go back in case you want to go back.
Now, was this your best experience or was this your worst
Yeah, which
experience?
was it?
Well, it was kind of both, and that's
Okay.
what
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I kind of went away from it after the first show for a while, and then we jumped back in about 3 months later after we realized that it was going to be a little bit more difficult than we imagined. And we went back at a smaller scale. We scaled back our budgets. I went into a place called the Samba Club on Girard Street. You guys ever go to the Samba Club?
No, but it sounds funky.
I want to go.
We did two shows there. We did one upstairs and we did one downstairs. We did the second show we did with Rudra. Rudra's from Singapore, and Riju was good friends with one of the guys in the band, and they were like, "We're coming to do Pagan Fest, maybe? What's the fest that the underground black metal bands do? It's like once
Oh,
a
yeah,
year.
no, maybe.
It's really underground. It's gotten better or whatever. I think it's called Pagan Fest or whatever. I'm not even sure if that's correct. But Rudra was coming to town. They were the headlining band for that, and they wanted to play other shows around. So I went to a Samba Club and met the owner, and he was, it was on Girard Street, so business wasn't the best. And I said, if I do a show on an odd night, can you give me a better rate? And I think we did it on a Thursday or something.
Nice.
Wacky. And we rented upstairs, and he would let us do beer. So we had beer sales. Didn't make much money because I gave people a lot of beer, but we had beer sales, so that kind of helped a
Nice.
little bit.
Yeah.
And that show we broke even. I think we might have made
Oh,
$75.
yeah,
I think we might have made $75 actually, and that's what
And
started.
spent it at the bar.
No. I never spent my money with PDP. It's a separate entity.
Okay,
So
we're going to have to take a quick break,
all right.
and we'll come right back.
Cool.